Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm still absolutely sweltering. It is boiling hot again. But anyway, I must take my mind off the fact that I am melting and tell you about the puzzle I'm going to be attempting for you in today's video. This is by Marty Tressel, who I think constructs under the pseudonym MS-DOS as well. It's a puzzle called Highball, and we've had this recommended a lot to us in the last few days, including by other constructors. Chinstrap from memory gave this incredible praise in an email and said that we should definitely have a crack at it. So that's what I'm going to have a go at. It is a beautiful grid at first blush. What I notice immediately about it is how symmetrical it is. And what I mean by symmetrical, I just imagine spinning the grid. If you spin this grid around 180 degrees, it would be, all of the things would end up in the same positions. I suppose, no, there is right, that is a difference. So if a rotation of this cell sort of around a spindle here, if you spun the grid on a wheel around 180 degrees, that cell would end up there, and that doesn't have a green line in it. But apart from that, it's quite similar. Yeah, and this is what I'm going to have a go at. It's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and look, I snipped some comments on Logic Masters Germany. Oh, yeah, and in fact, I've just seen somebody, Sudoku, said MS-DOS, so I am right in thinking that Marty Tressel and MS-DOS are the same constructor. And look, I mean, just these comments are just wonderful, aren't they? Codex says it's excellent. Snooker Fan, who is a great judge of a puzzle, says brilliant and fun puzzle. Agent says very clever and smooth. Smooth is this phrase that is used by solvers sometimes to indicate that it didn't really trouble them at all. It was very, there's a path that just, I started on my journey and I got to the end and I didn't really have to go over any bumps in the road. It was such a smooth trip. It always amuses me if you see a puzzle described as smooth and then you do battle with it and it was absolutely rock hard, and you sort of think what you might have missed. But yeah, you can see, actually somebody took 2.5 hours to finish it, 3 hours for JewZD. So it might be a long video. Although some people are saying it's 3 stars or 3.5 stars, so we'll see. We'll see how we get on. But it's meant to be extremely clever, and I'm looking forward to having a go at it. I'll read you the rules properly in a moment or two's time. What do I need to tell you before that? Not much today. No birthdays, which is very strange. And our competition for June has closed now, so I can't tell you about that. We've got another competition, obviously, in the works. That's coming on the 1st of July. So we'll talk more about that in due course. I suppose the other thing I will mention is our new apps. We've got 2 new apps out at the moment, which are we're calling them Sudoku Worms. So I might have a picture, actually. Yeah, there's a picture. So this is one of the worms that hasn't been released yet. It won't be long, but this is Juggler's Worm. And hopefully you can see that each puzzle in the worm sort of leads to a few digits in the next puzzle, and so on and so forth. And we've got a worm constructed by Marty Sears, who's many people's favourite constructor of Sudokus, and also by James Sinclair, who's another incredibly popular constructor. So this is a wonderful way where we can showcase puzzles by particular authors, and I mean, the value is incredible. Each of these worms is $1, just $1. I mean, and even if you're a very good solver, they'll still take you, I think, hours to get through. So I think it's very good value for your puzzling buck or your puzzling money. So definitely check them out. I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen, and we'll almost certainly fail. Anyway, that said and done, why don't we have a look at Highball by Marty Tressel. I'll read you the rules of the puzzle. They are as follows. We've got normal Sudoku rules applying, so we've got to put the digits 1 to 9, once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. German whisper lines. Adjacent digits along a green line must differ by at least 5. So if this cell here is a 1, this has to be at least equal to 6, 7, 8 or 9 in order to ensure it's sufficiently different from the digit 1. And then killer cages, I think, are normal. Digits in a cage must sum to the value indicated in the top left corner. We've only got 2 totals for any cage today. They're either adding up to 10 or they're adding up to 15, and that's so we've got Hobson's choice there. Not a lot of choice, but do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I mean, the first thing I'm going to do, I think. A 15 cage only has 2 choices. It's either 6-9 or 7-8, so we can do that. Now a 10 cage is a different sort of creature altogether. That has a lot of different ways it can be constructed. So it can be 4-6, 3-7, 2-8 or 1-9, so 4 different versions of itself. Right. So I don't know really what that means. Let's talk briefly, or perhaps not, about German whispers, because there are some things that we can say about German whispers. I'm noticing 5 is restricted actually in this box, because can you ever put 5 on a green line? And the answer is no, because if you do try and put 5 on the green line, the next digit is impossible, because it has to be at least 5 different from the 5, and if we go up, we go too high. We get to 10 and higher, and that's not a Sudoku number. And if we go down, we get to 0 and lower, and they aren't Sudoku numbers. So green lines have no 5s on them. I will mention briefly polarity, therefore, because that can be important. What do I mean by polarity? Well, let's look at this digit. We can classify this digit. Because we know it's not 5, it's either going to have the property of being below 5 or the property of being above 5. And the crucial thing to realise, let's imagine it's below 5. We can now ask about this digit. Can this possibly also be below 5? No, because the furthest apart they can be would be 1 and 4, which are only 3 apart. So what you're going to have, if this is low, this has to take the other side of 5. And then this one, of course, now this can't be 6, 7, 8 and 9, because these could only be 6 and 9. That's as far apart as we could get them, and that's only 3 apart. So this one would also have to be lower than 5. And so you get this, the effect is that you get this alternation. So whatever the sort of polarity is of this digit vis-a-vis 5, if it's lower than 5, so will that be, and so will that be. And same thing is going to happen on those lines. Those are all going to be the same polarity. But I say that with, I might be being a bit dense here, but I can't see what that's doing immediately. I mean, I can see things like if that's high, we've used 3 high digits in this column already. Actually, that's maybe interesting, because a 10 cage would have to have a high digit in it, because it's either going to be 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7 or 4, 6. So there is definitely a 6, 7, 8 or 9 in there. So if that was high, all the highs are gone in the column using those 5 cells. And all of these would have to be 5 or lower. But, okay. The other thought I have, I'm just going to come back to the other thought I had, which was thinking about 5 in this box. 5 can never go in a 10 cage, because the other digit in the 10 cage would have to be a second 5, and that will definitely break the rules of Sudoku. So 5 is in one of 3 cells in box 2. And very, very annoyingly, it doesn't work the same way there. It looks like it might want to, but because we haven't got a green line in this cell, we can't say that. I mean, you can't put... Okay, here's a different way of seeing things, something about 5s. Where is 5 in row 2? And the answer is, I don't know, but it's definitely in one of those 2 cells. And the same is true, because this puzzle's so symmetrical, if we rotate it around 180 degrees, if we ever spot any logic up here, we should definitely be trying to apply that logic down there. So that's what my brain is doing. My brain noticed that 5 in this row is in one of those 2 cells. So immediately you sort of ask the same question there, and you can see that the 5s are sort of, they're in this arrangement in row 2 and row 8, and that's an X-wing. what do I mean by an X-wing? Well, it's sometimes called an X-wing because whoopsie. The fives, when they're in this pattern, you're either going to get a 5 here, in which case, of course, in this row, the 5 couldn't be there, so the 5 will be on the other end of the X. So you're either going to get 5s in those two positions or these two positions, and that's why it's called an X-wing. Now, if you ever get this pattern, the crucial thing to realise about X-wings is that they don't actually do very much in the rows that you've discovered the X-wings in. The effect they have is in the columns. And the reason for that is, or can be seen by asking facetious questions. Like, okay, let's ask the facetious question for this column. How many 5s are there in column 2 if we correctly complete this puzzle? And hopefully you're all saying, that's a stupid question, Simon. Of course, there's going to be exactly 1 5, and you're correct. And how many 5s do you think there are going to be in column 8? And hopefully you're going to say, there's going to be 1 5, Simon. Well, you're right, again. So in these two columns, there are, in the correctly completed puzzle, 2 5s. But we have just said that these purple cells contain 2 5s, either those two or those two. So what we can immediately say then is, can we put any 5s at all in the rest of these, in any of those cells in columns 2 and 8? No, because if any of those black cells I've just highlighted were a 5, there would definitely be at least 3 5s in 2 columns of the Sudoku, and they can't be. So this little pattern is, I mean, we already knew, to be honest, that there's no 5s on the whisper lines, had we considered that, but it is taking 5s out of those cells. Now that might, no, actually we could have got rid of the 5s in those two because of the 5 pencil mark we'd already got in row 1, so this might not be doing anything. Oh, bobbins. Yeah, okay. Actually, that's weird. Look at row 9. So because I've just worked out neither of those could be 5, the 5 in row 9 is the equivalent of this 5 pencil mark there. It's got to be in one of those cells, so it isn't here. It could have been, but it isn't. Because in row 9, it must be in one of those 3. So So 5 in row 7 is restricted then. 5 in row 7 can't go in column 2 or column 8. It can't go in this box because of this 5 pencil mark. So it's either there or there, I think. I'm just going to highlight this for a moment. 5 is in one of those. Let's try it in that row as well then, it being its symmetrical counterpart. So it's not here or here. So it's there or there. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. That's quite weird, isn't it? So I know, sorry, I know I've stopped talking, but so if the 5 X-wing, whichever way the 5 X-wing unwinds, it's going to position 5s in the blue cells, I think. That might be wrong. But, for example, if the 5s are in that pattern, then this couldn't be a 5. And this couldn't be a 5, so these would be 5s. And if the 5s are in that pattern in the purple cells, then obviously neither of these can be 5s, and the 5s are going to be very stretched apart. And that's impossible. I don't believe it. Right. I have a horrible feeling that I have gone off on a very strange journey here, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I've never seen anything quite like this before, but it's quite interesting. So Matt, I'm so sorry if this is just not what you had in mind, but I think spotted something really weird. And the reason I've spotted something really weird is now I'm going to ask the question of where 5 is in row 5. Because in row 5, I know there's a 5 in one of those 2 cells, don't I? It can't be in a 10 cage and it can't be on a whisper. So if the 5s do end up in that limb of the blue, that cannot be true. It cannot be true. If the 5s are in those 2 positions, you can't place a 5 in row 5 of this puzzle. So the 5s are not in those 2 positions. Which means that this cannot be where the 5s are in the original X-Wing pattern. The original X-Wing requires these to be 5s, these to be 5s as a result, and that does allow one of the 5s, well, it allows a 5 to live in row 5 somewhere. That's extraordinary. That's just absolutely mad stuff, that is. But now, what does that mean? So 5s are in these cells, definitely. What about 5 in the middle box then? It can't go on the whisper or in a 10 cage. It can't go on. So 5 is in those positions. So that is really weird. I loved that. But it did feel a bit mad to me. I got really obsessed with the 5s, and I could see there was something going on, but I couldn't see quite how it worked. Now, has it done anything good for me, though? The answer is I don't know. Well, yeah, okay. So I know one of those is a 5. Yes, okay, so where I'm going, right, this is something we didn't talk about when we did the secrets of whispers, but I want to ask a question. Where can you put a 4 or a 6 in the middle of a German whispers line, like this cell? No, or this cell, more importantly. The reason you can't put a 4 here is that 4 only has one legitimate partner on a German whispers line, because 4, there's only one Sudoku digit that's at least 5 different from it, and that is the digit 9. The same is true of 6. 6 only has one partner, which is the digit 1. So if that's 6, both of these would have to be 1. So what that means is, if you look at this row, where are we putting 4 and 6? They can't go in the middle of these German whispers positions. And we can't put them in those 2 cells, because then we couldn't put 5 into row 5. And that means one of these 10 cages is 4, 6. I've got no real way of... I don't want to pencil mark that, because normally when I put a corner pencil mark in like that, I'm using that for box logic. So for example, you can see it with the 5s here. These corner marked 5s are saying within this box the 5 is in one of those 2 positions, and that's very settled in my brain. So if I was to suddenly do that, then if I look at this box, I seem to be saying 4s are in one of those positions and 6s are in one of those positions. That's not what I would be doing. All I'm saying is that 4 and 6 are either there or there in row 5. And presumably, oh goodness, and that is going to be the same. So again, if we use symmetry and spin the grid, what about these cells? That can't be 4 or 6. That can't be 4 or 6. That can't be 4 or 6. Does one of these have to be a 5? Presumably it does. It's the same logic again in those cells as it was for these. So, okay, so what I should do, 5 is definitely in one of those two cells. 5 is definitely in one of these two cells. And there's a 4-6 pair either there or there, and there's a 4-6 pair either there or there. Ah, right. Yes. Okay, so look at column 5. Now, I've just deduced that because I can't put 4 and 6 in those two cells, because I wouldn't be able to put 5 in the column, one of these is a 4-6 pair. Now let's just put 4-6 there and see what it does. The point is, it puts a very awkward digit indeed on this central whisper. This digit would have to be a 1 or a 9, depending on whether this is 4 or 6. And of course, if this is 4 or 6, that same point applies. So this central digit is 1 or 9. Now, these 10 cages can't be a 1-9 pair. So one of them is 4-6 and the other is either 2-8 or 3-7. Oh, that must be doing something. What's that doing? So Maverick's just taken off. Maverick's coming to see us. Oh dear, I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's try. That felt like that was a really sensible deduction, didn't it? I don't really know what to do with that. I have a feeling I have missed the point of this. I have got a horrible feeling that I was meant to be doing something far more... I mean, if those were the same flavour of 15 cage, what would that be saying? So imagine that was 6-9 and that was 6-9. 6 and 9 would be in these cells. And only one of them could be there. So these would have to, one of these would be high, which would mean both were high. Because of the oscillation along the whispers line. Ah. Oh, okay. All right, I've got something far right. Oh dear. I'm a bit in, how long? 22 minutes, and I've just spotted something that's totally obvious. I'm sorry. Okay, I've been distracted, but I've got this is a bit bad, but forgive me. That cage is well, the point is that 15 cage and that 15 cage have to be the same, because if they weren't, this 10 cage couldn't exist. In fact, that 10 cage couldn't exist either. Oh goodness me. Right, yeah, so imagine these were different. So let's imagine that's 6-9 and this is different. This is 7-8. What high digit are we putting in this 10 cage? None. It sees 6, 7, 8 and 9, so it couldn't have a high digit in it and it couldn't add up to 10. So actually, these are the same. And that's beautiful. Ah, dear. Okay, sorry. Why is it beautiful? Well, by Sudoku, the two purple digits go in these three cells, but they can't be adjacent for the very reason that we talked about on the original German whispers line. So that these have to be high. There we go. So these are 6, 7, 8 or 9. Now actually one of those could be a 6, because these two cells could be a double 1, couldn't they? That is possible. So if this was 6, 9... Yeah, this is quite interesting. These two cages here are... So if this was 6-9 and this was 6-9, one of these would be 2-8, the other would be 3-7. They couldn't be the same because imagine these were 6, 9 and both of these were 2, 8. Then we have to put 8 in here as well as 6, 9. And we can't have 3 high digits in that stretch. Indeed, we'd have to have 2 in there as well. We could put the 2 in, but you couldn't put the 3rd high digit into this string. So this and this are different flavors of 10 cage. Oh, this is a really good puzzle. This is a really good puzzle. Now, hang on. These are all low now. That's not 4, because 4 would be surrounded by double 9. Oh dear, okay. Okay, but that logic must all be symmetrical over here. But I don't know. We even thought about this. It is. I mean, it's certainly true to say that and that are the same. Otherwise, these 10 cages couldn't exist. That logic is true. But is it true to say that these can't be purple, or could they be purple? Well, at least it's not possible, right? Okay, what it's not possible is that this is 6, 9 and this is 6, 9 and this is 6, 9 and this is 6, 9. That isn't possible. And the reason for that is that one of these would be a 6 and one of these would be a 6, and 6 only partners up with 1 on its German whispers line. So you get a 1 here and a 1 here in row 5. So that doesn't work. But what about if this is 7, 8? So these would be 7, 8. And then this would have to be, could this be 7, 8 then? So if those 4 cells I've just highlighted were all 7 and 8, what does that do? I'm not sure. Then these would all be 6. These would be 6, 4 and 1, 9 in some order. This would be a 7, 8 pair. This would be a 7, 8 pair. Okay, I'm going to abandon that. I can't quite see whether there's a problem there. But what I do know, because I know that I don't know whether this is purple or not. It might be. But I do know that those two, because these have to repeat, they're high. And that means this is low. And it's not 4. And now I want to look at row 5. Because this is going to give me a digit. Because a 10 cage, a domino 10 cage, must have a low digit in it. Because it's either 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7 or 4, 6. So there's definitely a 1, 2, 3, 4 in there, and there's definitely a 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. So the central digit cannot be a 5th low digit in this row. That's low, there's a low one in there, and there's a low one in there. So that cannot be another low. That must be 9. These are therefore, whoopsie, 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 these are high. Now, what does that mean? And the answer is, I'm not sure yet. It might mean something, but I've got to work out what. I know one of those is 4, 6, don't I, from the logic we did earlier. Hang on. I knew one of these was 4, 6, so there is now a 6 in one of those. I mean, it's a dreadful pencil mark, but it's true. There is a 4 in one of these. And there is a 6 in one of these. Okay, so if these were purple, then all of purples would be 7 and 8. This would be a 7-8 pair, this would be a 7-8 pair, this would be a 7-8 pair in the middle box by Sudoku, and that doesn't work because you can't. Yeah, that's really clever. Wow. Wow, I mean, that's very complicated, but it's beautiful, so I have to tell you about it. Right, so what I'm now going to claim is this. If these were both purple, i.e. the same as these, we can instantly now rule out that purple is 6, 9. And the reason is, if that's going to put a 6 in one of these and a 6 in one of these, which is going to require this to be a 1 and this to be a 1. So that definitely doesn't work. But what happens if purple is 7, 8? Well, then you're going to have 7, 8 pairs into these positions, and we should ask where 7 and 8 go in the central row. And they have to be in those two positions, wouldn't they? And therefore these digits would be a 2, 3 pair to make the tens cages work. But these are, so if we've got a 2, 3 pair in there, both of those digits become 1, and Sudoku breaks in row 5. So what we are instead saying is that these are different creatures to purple, which means these are green, and these are very different. So if this is 6, 9, this is 7, 8. And this would be 7, 8, and this would be 6, 9. One of these digits is a 1 now, definitely. Oh, I see, I can't. It's like been designed. It's an anti-pencil markable puzzle. One of those is a 1 because it's going to be next to a 6. So, and then it's the same again, isn't it? We've worked out that these 10 cages are different, so that logic must be preserved over this side. It's just that these are sort of the purple versions of 10 cages, because imagine purple is 7, 8. Then this is 6, 9. Neither of these 10 cages can be 6, 9, so they would be either 2, 8 or 3, 7. But they couldn't be the same, because then you'd have to put those digits in there. So these are different, and they are sort of the purple high. They're the purple high digits, and these are the dark green high digits. Which means that, yeah, okay, I'm actually going to go, I'm going to sort of do that. I'm going to do that. Just because I think this is important. Or is it? So, if this was 7, 8, this would have 7 or 8. If this was 7, 8, this would have 7 or 8 in it. And then this would have the opposite in it. If that was 7, if that was 7, 8, let's say that was 8, 2, then this would be 3, 7 and would overlap with that. So there's going to be an overlapping high digit between these dominoes and these dominoes, but only one overlapping high digit. This is really interesting. But what does it mean? Okay, so I know these are high, don't I? Let's actually just let's rather than being fussy, which is what I was being, let's try and make this work. Oh, I know I've stopped talking. I'm so sorry. I really am trying to understand this. So, oh no. So where do I go from there? One side of the puzzle See, this is tricky. I know if I was solving this in a competition, what I would do here is I would gamble. Not gamble, but I would want to understand where the constraint is, because it's so symmetrical. The symmetry is broken here, I think. And what I mean by that is that I don't know what it is that forces this to be 6-9 or this to be 7-8. But it's going to be something. It's going to be some rinky-dink that could be. You see, it also could be the case that you have to basically solve the whole puzzle using this sort of purple-green nomenclature, and then at the very end something will reveal the height of this digit, and that will be the disambiguator that allows you to finish the puzzle. I mean, I can see if that's high, all three of those are high. And that would be all the highs gone immediately from box 2. Yeah, but if these are low, on the other hand, these are high. Is that possible? Is if all of those are high, then the high purple would be in the corner and the high green would be in the corner. None of these could be high. That felt wrong when I said it. I don't know if that's true or not. Hang on, let me think about that again. If these are low, because they would all be low, then these are high. That's certainly true. I don't think it works. I mean, it's the most bizarre reason ever. I think it's fascinating, and I think I'm doing this puzzle all wrong. So I'm going to tell you what I think I've just discovered. So what I'm saying is, if these are low digits, let's put it in so we can see, we can work through it together. But this is what I've seen. These are high now on the whisper lines. Now, we've obviously got this quadruple now in this row of 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, that means that what I did before, if you remember what this green pencil mark meant, it meant that this 10 cage has a high digit in it from the green panoply. So if this was 7, 8, this has either 7 or 8 in it. Now, because of this quadruple, this high digit would be here. But because of this quadruple, the high digit in purple, because the logic is symmetrical, would be there. So in row 1, you'd have 4 high digits, and none of these could be high. And how many high digits then have we put into this box? 1, 2, 3. So one of them's missing. Don't know which one, but it's missing. Can't go in. So I think what we can do at this point is to say these are the high digits and these are the low digits. And those can't be 4s because they would cause double 9s. That can't be 6 because that would cause double 1. This can't be 9 because there's already a 9 in the column. Now, so these digits are all low digits, and well, they're from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that's a terrible, terrible, terrible pencil mark. 4 has to be at the top. Now, the slight worry about all this, and it is a slight worry, is that makes me want to do that logic down here. Oh, that's a low digit now. Look, and it's not 4 because one of those is 4. So this that's not 6 because that would cause double 1. So 6 is in one of those squares, which means one of these squares is a 1. Now, this is a low digit. This is a low digit. And that's going to be very important for the following reason. Oh, brain, come on. What is going on? I still don't think I've captured the essence of this one yet. I think this is oh, I've got something. I've got something. Column 5. 1, 2, 3. Look, actually, I can do better. Those can't be 9s. So these can't be 1s. And now 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 high digits. So that's low. So this whisper at the bottom has low digits on it in those positions. And then high digits in these positions. And that can't be 6. Neither of these can't be 4. Now, what can we do with that? Look, yeah, this is lovely. Now look at row 8. I've got all the high digits in row 8, so these can't be high. These are high, and are 6, 7, 8, and 9 using our earlier logic. Now I've got a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple in row 9. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9 in order to make sure I've got all 4 high digits in box 8. Now, what do we do with that is the next question. And what do we do with this column? That can't be a 4. I put 4 in as a pencil mark across here, but there's a 4 in one of those cells, definitely. These 2 digits are very low. Oh, those 2 digits are very low digits along their 10 cage. So this digit, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is a low digit. This is a low digit. It can't be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a high digit. So yeah, it's all about high digits and low digits in the most bizarre manner. Now, what are we going to do with this? We're going to say... I absolutely love this. It's fascinating. But it feels like a very baffling puzzle. Like it's real. The real heart of it is just eluding me very slightly. Now, okay, so what do we do next? I've got a horrible feeling like someone's going to write in the comments, oh, you knew that this was 6, 9 at the very start or something, or you knew that was 6, 9 at the very start. I didn't know that. If it is possible to see that, I'm so sorry. I don't understand how that can be. Now, one of those is 6. If I don't know, what on earth am I meant to do now? Okay, here's a funny old point, which I think is correct. Right, purple is either 6, 9, which would put 6, 9 there and put 1 here, or it's 7, 8, which would mean these were a 7, 8 pair. And you could never put a 3 in the middle of a 7, 8 pair, because 3 and 7 are only 4 apart. So those 2 digits are a 1, 2 pair, and now these cells are 3, 4, 7, 8, aren't they? Which means that the 3, 4, 7, 8, that maths doesn't work. They don't add up to 10 each, because those numbers don't add up to 20. What am I talking about then? 4, 6, 3, 7 is what they are. I don't know what I said before. I think I said 8 was one of them, which is not true. Right, so in this row, 5 and 8 are in the wings. These can't be 4s, because 4 is in one of those squares, so these can't be 6s. And I've got an awful lot. That can't be a 9. One of these is a 5. It feels like I've got... Is that some sort of weird quintuple or something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. I wonder whether what I ought to have done at a much earlier stage is shade low and high digits. That might have been a sensible thing to do. I never did that. I've got an awful lot of row 7 just done, haven't I? This is one of each, I think. Just looking along the row, I've got 3 highs, 3 lows. So that's 1 high and 1 low. Oh, that's beautiful. That's it. Done it. Well, I haven't done it, but I've done something. Yeah, look at the end of row 7. That's almost my favourite. This is such a beautiful idea. This digit is massive. Because that digit sees all 4 high digits. Because it sees the 2 digits in double green. It sees whatever the digit is in the 10 cage, and we know it's a different digit in that 10 cage. So it sees all of the high digits. That's low. So this is high. And now in this box, we've had all the highs, so that's low. This is crazy. Now, what does that mean? That's a good question, and I don't know the answer. I don't think I do know the answer, I'm afraid. Okay, 4 is in one of those 3 cells, so it's a bit like that is symmetrical with the tops, so neither of those is a 4, which might be important. And can I pull that trick again? I don't know if I can actually. It's more complicated in this row for some reason. I don't understand why that should be the case, but it does, or whether I've just done much less work. But why is row 3 less populated? Was it that digit I'd somehow worked out? How had I worked out that digit? What had I done in this row that was so magical that I haven't done in this row? That's an interesting thought. I mean, the high digit in here is that high digit, isn't it? Well, yeah, it is. Because it's not this one, because these 10 cages have to be different from one another. So there's a high purple in one of those. I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, okay, I'll pull... No, I can't pull the same trick. I can't do it. The geometry is genuinely different. Because what I was going to try to do was the same trick along here that I pulled with this cell, which sees both 10 cages, but that cell doesn't see both 10 cages. It sees a 10 cage there, but doesn't see that one. So you can't do the same trick. It doesn't work. So that is where a symmetry break has occurred. Okay. Alright, so come on, use your brain. What does all this mean? Haven't got a clue. Can we say anything sensible about... I don't know. Oh dear. One of these is an 8. One of those is an 8, which seems a bit of a strange digit to be left out. So if that's an 8, what are we saying? We're saying that's 6, 9 then. Oh, and we're saying that would be 8, 2, aren't we? So that would be 3, 7. Oh, hang on. Okay, here's something that I hadn't noticed. If green was 6, 9, one of these is a 6, which is therefore surrounded by double 1 on its whisper. Now imagine that was a 6, those two would be 1, and that would be a 1, wouldn't it? And the reason this would be a 1 is that 6 is a green digit, and green is not in there. So you couldn't put the 1 in here. So if green contains a 6, these 3 digits are all 1s. And if purple contains a 6, these 3 digits are all 1s. Right. Oh, that is ridiculous. Right. That's huge. Because that means, let's imagine purple contained the 6, 9 then. Then all 3 of those cells there, they'd all be 1s. And let's think about how that would work for green, which is now a 7, 8 pair. So one of these is a 7. Now 7 on a German whispers line must be surrounded by either 1, because it's 6 away, or 2, because that's 5 away. Well, it couldn't be surrounded by a 1, because the 1s would be in those cells, so it would be surrounded by 2. So imagine that was a 7. Those would be a 2. You can't put 2 in there, because 2 isn't a green digit. So right, this is huge. So this would be 2, 2, 2, and this would be 1, 1, 1. And it's either that way or the other way round. So these squares are not 3s and 4s. These squares are not 3s and 4s. This is a 1, 2. Those are the same digit. We have to record that. These are the same digit. And yeah, that's it. Got it. Right. Now, look at that digit. That's a 3. Oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Right, so that's got to be 8. It's got to be at least 5 away. That's the only choice, so that's a 9. So that must be something to do with the symmetry break that we were looking for. That's now not a 3. This is not a 3, so that is not a 7. These are not 9s. Please let there be a triple in this car. I don't think there is. That's not 3 anymore. This is a 4. This little cell over here now. So this isn't 4, so this isn't 6. This isn't 8. This 9, is this doing... Oh, this is a 6, 7, 8 triple. There's a 6, 7 pair in this column actually. So 1, 2, 4, 5 into these gap cells. I'm prepared to pencil mark that. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, there's something. Oh, that's it. No, this 4. This 4 is the most beautiful digit in the world. Yeah, as to today, Wednesday, this is the most beautiful digit in the world. Because what that is doing is it means that purple in both of these cells, both of these dominoes, cannot have 4, 6 in it. So how could green be 7, 8? If green is 7, 8, one of those is 4, 6, yet neither could be. So green is 6, 9, I think. Which means these are 6, 9, which means 1 is the digit that's going in blue, which means 2 is the digit going in here. It means purple. I really hope that logic is sound. I think, oh, that's a 7 naked single. So that's the 8. This is a 7, 8 pair, so that's going to do damage. This is a 1 or a 4. That's the same up here. This is either 6, 4 or 1, 9. I don't know if we know which, but okay, this... Right, now we know that, because we know purple is 7, 8, we know that this is of that ilk, and this is 2, 3, 7, 8 up here. That's 6, 9, so that is 7 or 8. Look, there's a... Where's 9 in row thingy? Row thingy is the technical term for row 7. Where's 9? 9's in the corner down here. That feels like it deserves a song, frankly. That's not 6. One of those is 6. It probably does something. What do we do with this now? Okay, that's a 9, and this has to be therefore be 6, 4. Which means this is 1, 9 up here, because they have to be different, otherwise you'd have to put 4 and 6 in those squares. 9. There's an X-wing of 9s in those green cells, so 9 is in one of those 3 in row 3, and that's where it goes. And that probably matters for some reason. I can't see it quickly. Right, this is a 2, 3 pair. These haven't got 2 in them. That one hasn't got 4. That's a 1, 3 pair. So this column presumably is important. That's a 4, 6 pair. And that digit is known to be a 3. And if that digit is a 3, I don't know. I don't know if that does something. It probably does, but I'm not seeing what it is. Okay, in this column, oh, that's a 3 by Sudoku. So that's a 7. So that's not 7. Oh, this is a 6 by Sudoku. That's got to be a 4 then. Now, how does that affect this box? I don't know, but they are a 1, 9 pair, I'm going to claim, and that's in this column. This is a 5 now, so that's an 8 on the other side. These two digits are something. 4 and 6, I think. Okay. I've got all the high digits, so this is definitely a low digit. That's the most dreadful pencil mark in Christendom. I'm sorry. That's not 6. So this is the 6 in row 7, so that's a 4, look. That's not 4. So this is definitely not 6. That's not 4. That's not 4. My pencil marking is improving as a result of that. That's a 7, 8 pair actually in this column. 1, 2, 3 and 5. Come on. Come on. We don't want to get bogged down here. We just want to smoothly find our way through the puzzle to a beautiful finish. And then we can give Matt Tressel all the plaudits he deserves. Okay, there's an 8 looking at that. So that is 3, 7. So no, yeah, that's good. There's a 7 here, there's a 7 there. So the 7 has to, in this row, has to be in one of those two cells, and that has to be an 8. And that's a 7 therefore, and that's a 6. 6 is next to 1 on whisper lines, so we can get rid of 1 from all of those cells. Therefore this is a 1, this is a 9, this is a 9, this is a 6. Oh, please. Please. This is an 8, this is a 7, this is... Oh, no 3 in the corner. That's a 2. We should be able to do that digit, shouldn't we? I think that's a 4. And this box needs 2 and 8 in it. We can do it. We can just fill it in. 8 and 2. 3, 2, 8 down here. 7 goes here. 8, 7. Oh, 7 is restricted on whispers, but unfortunately that could be a 1 or a 2 apparently. But that's a 3 by mathematics, so that's a 1. This is a 5, that's a 2. So we're still in the game. We're still in it. This is the only place 3 can go in this box. This is a 5, this is a 4, this is a 4, this is a 6. The top of the grid's done. This is 1, this is 9. This is 4, this is 6. Okay, we might be getting there actually. 6 and 9 go into those cells. Maverick's looping the loop outside. This is, yeah, that's 3, that's 7. This is 2 and 5, which must be resolved, I think. 5 and 2. This is 1. This column has not had a 5 in it. No, it has had a 5 in it. What's it missing then? A 2. Okay, that's all right. That's 8, that's 7. That's 3, that's 1. That's 5, and that's 4, hopefully. That is brilliant. That is one of the most unusual and brilliant puzzles with a very normal rule set and some quite magical, unusual logic in it. I think the 5 stuff I did at the start was bonkers. I think you were meant to do the 10 thing probably quite early on, like noting that these which forces the 15 cages to be the same on each side of the grid. I'm not sure if there was a better way of proving that, you know, that 15 had to be different from that 15. I did find a way to do that, but I couldn't do that easily. It took me a little bit. But then in the end, this is going to deserve its own colour. This cell here is total magic, because we worked out it had to be low because it saw all the various iterations of high digits. And then once we knew it was low, we knew its value. And once we knew its value, it totally did the puzzle. It totally did the puzzle. I mean, it's just brilliant. That is a brilliant puzzle. Matt Tressel, take a bow. I loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.